Hello and welcome to the Manufacturers Hub podcast. Today I'm here with Liam Bell from Neuguard. Liam, welcome on.
Cheers, thank you for having me.
Liam, for people who haven't come across Neuguard before, can you give us a quick overview of what you do and what's it about?
Yeah, so we're a machinery compliance consultancy firm, going for about 3 years now. There's three of us now on board. Yeah, we're involved mostly in the automotive industry and food and beverage. Occasionally get the odd sort of medical aerospace job here and there. Sort of specialise in CE marking, PUWER assessments, and sort of robot cell applications. So we're quite clued up on 10218 part 1 and 2. We do functional safety stuff, verification and validation of control systems, 13849, 62061. So yeah, it sort of turn our hand to anything sort of compliance and safety risk assessment related, really.
Where do businesses normally get stuck before they contact you?
A lot of the inquiries we get are post sort of costing, estimating, and quoting sales phase. So that they get sort of stuck because safety more often than not is an afterthought with a lot of both machine builders and end users. So quite often, people are stuck because they haven't really started the risk assessment process from the very beginning of the engineering phase, and they haven't costed for it in their proposal and estimating phase. You get the sort of identification of hazards that need controlling, after everything's layouts have been done and mechanical drawings are done, and it costs a load of money because of everything needs to be re-engineered and stuff like that. So more often than not, we're trying to find a sort of a compromise between what's reasonably practicable to achieve at a difficult stage of the project. So there's a balance between costs and compliance, basically. That's a big part of the problem that people get stuck with.
Do you generally find do you get a lot of work through like UK built machines, or is it from machines coming from, just say, overseas if they're not meeting the UK standards, or how does it work there?
Yeah, I mean, the vast majority of what we do is in the UK. Like end users and machine builders will bring in equipment from Europe as well, and it's increasingly more from Asia. So we do have work in Asia. We've been over there last year to Vietnam to look at some kit. But yeah, I mean, we'll go anywhere. We don't mind travelling, but most of our work is within the UK and Republic of Ireland as well. We get quite a bit of work over there.
I know before, obviously, we started this podcast, you mentioned you used to work for some kind of larger machine builders, but what is it that made you want to get into the compliance side of it?
Well, so I think like everybody else, fell into it. Because I don't think anybody who goes to university does, and to do engineering sort of thinks, I want to get into machinery compliance. I don't think anybody really knows what it is until they get into like a machine building or machine using industry. But that's exactly what happened to me. I came out of uni and I got a job for a large machine integrator, and I was quite good at writing engineering reports at uni. So I applied for a job that was posted to be a technical author, so writing operation manuals and stuff for the lines that they were building. And I was working, because that's sort of part of the operation manual is a critical part of the technical file. I was working for the guy who was responsible for compiling the technical file for that business. And through him, I just sort of learned bits and bobs about safety here and there. And over time, I was finding that a lot of people were coming to me when he wasn't around to ask me for my advice for safety problems that they were having. And I got a bit of a kick out of it, because these people were like sort of 30, 35 years, engineers in the game. And they were coming to me who'd been in like a little part of safety for like a year. And I was actually able to help them, develop solutions with them. And it was just a crazy amount of satisfaction. So I think it was just being able to influence engineering solutions from near enough the very beginning that sort of made me fall in love with it, really.
You're doing some of the safety components and on the machines and the safety checks. So is this down to like light guards and light curtains and the safety controls equipment, is it?
Yeah. Anything like that. Mechanical as well, just, mechanical guarding systems and roller doors and all sorts of safety components. Yeah.
Do you install this stuff as well? Do you install all of these like safety guards as well?
No, not at this time. That's something we're looking to get into. So one of the guys we've taken on recently is a mechanical designer. So we actually have that capability now. We can start designing guards and mechanical guarding systems and things like that. We're looking to this year fill the other side of it with the electrical design. We've got a guy who we're potentially going to take on to do that work for us. He can do the electrical design drawings, and he can do the installation for us as well. So we're hoping to basically offer a turnkey safety upgrade package off of the back of our risk assessments and safety concepts. So that's something we'd like to have in place at least by the end of the year, but we're going to try and start, we're hoping to take on the guy to do that around June, July time this year. So yeah, that's definitely something we're looking into now.
I think, yeah, worth looking forward to, really, isn't it? And being able to offer that more to your customers as well, isn't it?
Yeah, great. More often than not, we have to just sort of say, here's the hazard, here's what you should do to correct it, or maybe we'll give them a few options, and then that's it. We kind of walk away, and we never really see the sort of fruits of our labour. Of course, it's a repeat customer, and we go back and then we see it. So I personally will get a lot of satisfaction by being able to take it from the very beginning all the way to the end and, sign it off. And yeah, that would just be great. I really hope we can achieve that this year.
Do you normally let them kind of do these mods themselves, or do you normally kind of recommend anyone?
Yeah, we have some controls partners currently that we use, and we work in sort of tandem with for our projects. Just I'd say we kind of just started to build a relationship with a mechanical and controls. Well, they're basically two companies that are partnered with each other. So now we've started to work very closely as a sort of safety consultancy to both of those businesses. So now all three of us together are sort of offering the full package at the moment. But they're sort of mid-sized sort of businesses. So they take on quite larger projects than we'd be able to do ourselves. We're more aiming to do sort of small safety upgrades for standalone machinery. To start off this year anyway.
Is there a certain kind of type of machine you find you're working on most? Is it like conveyors, or is it certain robotic systems, or is there a certain one you use?
It's sort of robot cell forests, if you like. So just large lines of robot cells, all sort of interconnected. Conveyor lines, press lines, and get quite a lot. Yeah, that sort of stuff, really.
So is it, like I said, you get a lot from Asia as well. So do you normally find you're doing these safety checks more on machines that are coming from certain areas?
Yeah, I mean, the quality sort of dips in places that don't. There are a lot of places in Asia that don't really, they don't have the same level of regulation that we have over here. And they're aware that we have these regulations over here, and I think they try their best to understand it, but they fall short quite a lot. So we've done a lot of work over the past 3 years working with people who have imported stuff, full well knowing that it doesn't comply, and because the prices are so much cheaper than Europe, they've just basically taken a punt on it and hope that once it gets here, it's not too expensive to sort of get it up to a European standard. It can work. It doesn't always work, but it's an approach that more and more people are starting to take now. And actually, I think there is quite a bit of business for it. I know a couple of sort of small to mid-size machine builders actually in the food and beverage industry that are adopting this model, and they swear by it. They think it works. I think I was given an example once of it was a pouch packing machine of pouch food, and he said something like he'd gone out and got quotes, and his cheapest quote from like a European machine builder was £500,000, I think. His most expensive was £1.5 million. And ended up getting this machine from China for £45,000. I think we quoted along with our partners, the mechanical and electrical sort of partners, together we quoted for a compliant solution to bring that machine up to a European standard. I think we quoted something like £150,000. So all in, it would have been £200,000.
Yeah,
and that's £300,000 less than the cheapest thing he could find in Europe. So yeah, there's a lot of machine builders that are going down that route now. As I say, sometimes sometimes it just doesn't, because but they come over and it just doesn't. There's nothing you can do to it. It's just never gonna. It's not going to be cost effective at all. You just got to rebuild the whole thing. So you've got to be careful. I think it's always. I think it's worth the trip over there if you're thinking of doing that, just to go and see it yourself and understand the sort of quality that they're working to. Sort of risk.
The safety standards are nowhere near obviously what we have here in Europe or the UK, are they? So, yeah, it's not really worth it, is it? Well, I think it doesn't always work, especially with automation. It's because it's down to some of it is the process is down to the designer who's designing a machine as well. So I've worked on projects that one manufacturer's quoted like £3 million for a project, and yet the project that this other machine builder I was working for is a third of the price. So, but it was the same overall end process of how the part would be assembled, just say, but the designer's idea of how the machine would work made it like a lot cheaper to build.
Yeah.
So it's the same, I think, in that way. So if you got it's not necessarily about down to the safety standards as well. It's a case of the design itself might be a totally different way of being built. Components might be a lot cheaper as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One thing also you've got to look out for as well. There was parts of this machine that was brought over from China. I was looking through the control panel during my initial PUWER assessment of it, and everything looks normal. I think it looked like it was a Siemens PLC. There was some, I don't know if it was PILT's safety relays or whatever in there, but the yellow relays and stuff. It all looked legit. And I put in the serial number of the PLC into the Siemens website, and it was like not recognized. Then I went into the HMI, and it became more and more clear that this was like a counterfeit component. So that's obviously, if you're using safety components, I mean, process wise, fine, so long as it works, fine. I don't know how long that PLC would have lasted for, but safety wise, if you're looking at counterfeit components, you can't really think that it's been through the testing it needs to be to actually have a legitimate performance or still level. So definitely something to look out for if you're going to go down that route.
That's fair. I mean, it could go up in flames or something, couldn't it? It's not been tested. It's not.
It did spontaneously combust, that machine, and that's kind of why we were called there in the first place, because I thought it's like a motor wire or something went up in flames, and it sort of come right. This might not be as cool as we thought it was when we saw it in China, and come out and basically said, yeah, this thing needs rewiring. Oh yeah,
I've seen the wires on certain products have come in. They're so thin a grade of wire. It's just no wonder it kind of goes up in flames. The grade is just so thin compared to what we'd use here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So you're based in Coventry, in the West Midlands. Do you mainly work around that area, or do you kind of travel across the UK and further afield?
No, so we travel all over the place. Yeah, it'd be nice to get some more jobs closer to home, to be honest with you. But no, we're all over the place, to be honest. Had a lot of work in Scotland last year. So I've got quite a few customers in Ireland now. I actually really quite like that. I love going over to Ireland. And I've had jobs in Spain, France, Germany. We went to Vietnam beginning of last year. Had an inquiry in Africa actually recently, which hasn't come off yet. Hopefully it does. I don't need to chase that up, funny enough. But all over the place, to be honest. Yeah. So
checking back a little bit, actually, is a question I was going to ask actually on the end of the specifying of the fake products you saw in the HMI and the control panels is. Do you normally find like the sector depends on, say, if they specify components? See, for me, working in automotive, you find that a lot of the components are actually kind of spec'd. So it might have to be Siemens, or it might have to be a Mitsubishi PLC, or it might have to be. Whereas, do you normally find these machines that are coming from obviously further afield, they're not keeping to the spec of what the customers ask for, or?
No, to be honest with you, I think that particular project, I just don't think much work was done to spec what they had. I think that particular example, I think they already had this model built, and so that's just what they were sent. I definitely find that when it's specified early on and they're told these Asian suppliers are told what components need to be inside the machine, they do provide what they're told to provide. That's just feedback from one of the machine builders that I worked with, who swears by this approach, because he said he got a lot of pushback from the supplier of the machine, because they said he wanted an Allen Bradley relay or something like that, which was £300. And this, we've got this here. It's £12. It does exactly the same thing. Like, why on earth would we put this in there? And he's just like, please, just do it. And so they do, kind of begrudgingly, and they don't really understand why we would spend this amount of money to do it, but they will do it. Yeah, they're asked to do it, they will do it. Yeah.
But sometimes it's down to more if they specify it because it's common spares, though, isn't it? So if that machine goes down, they know they've got those spares in because of half the equipment in their factory is also using the same equipment.
Yeah,
it's the same components, isn't it?
Yeah, and it also works, for the much larger, end users. It works on a global scale, doesn't it? If they have a breakdown somewhere and they don't have the right maintenance engineer in the country at the time, they can fly someone in from another country, and they don't have to read manuals or anything like that, because it's just exactly the same as the facility that they work at home, so they can just crack straight on.
Yeah. You find obviously it's when they're say, I was thinking more of it, if they have a machine go down nearby, that the components they've bought as critical spares for that could be exactly the same. So if it comes down to like a pneumatic cylinder, just say, and it's the same size, same stroke, they can just swap them straight in, rather than I see a different manufacturer's component might necessarily fit in exactly the same bolt holes, same everything else. What are the most common mistakes you see businesses making when it comes to compliance and safety?
Well, it's definitely not. It's not taken into consideration at the right times of the project. So, as I say, it's when budgets are made, quite often the safety activities are left out and are an afterthought, which is a bit of a struggle for us, because when we're brought in and we give our costs, it's like, we don't actually have any money for this, so is there some way you can help us out with your costs? And it's like, come on, really? So we'll always try and work with people like that, and on an agreement that, hopefully if we get another job with you, please just come to us before you set your budget. So there's that, and of course then, when we're brought in, especially for PUWER assessments, again, no budget has been put aside for corrective actions, and we'll say, there's a guard missing here, or this safety component you're using isn't going to meet the right performance level, so this needs to be swapped out. And it's not just the cost of the components, but it's the time and the design hours and stuff like that to get drawings changed and everything like that. And it's just never any budget for it, because it's always an afterthought. So that's definitely always the most consistent mistake that we come across.
How much do the PUWER and CUK markings actually matter?
Well, they completely matter. I mean, they're two sides of the same coin. PUWER is just a check is a check done by the end user of the machine manufacturer's UKCA or CE mark. It's UKCA is the responsibility of the manufacturer, and PUWER is the responsibility of the end user. It's hugely important, because if you fall short on any of the requirements of either side, that's what they're going to prosecute you over. That's what they're going to come after you for. So it's hugely important, and it needs to be done at the right times. Both need to be done before the machine is put into service. In a proper production environment, of course. Sometimes, especially with the larger lines that we work at in the automotive industry, you're going to have to put people on the machines before it's actually in production, because you've got to commission the thing. You've got to make sure it actually works and works out parts and in cars and whatever. So there's a bit of grey area in those sort of instances, because technically people are working on the machine, but I think the machinery directed guidance is quite clear on instances like this. Although the directive is very grey, the guidance is a great document, because it sort of irons out all these grey areas, and you are allowed to put people on the machine for commissioning purposes. It's just how you define commissioning. Some people like to sort of use the grey area to their advantage sometimes, to use the machine without it having the right certifications in place. But no, it's really important to get it right first time.
Some companies worry that compliance slows them down. From your experience, how can good safety and compliance actually improve efficiency and reduce the downtime?
Well, this is it. So it's if you've got a good design risk assessment in place, it won't just keep people safe, but if you've assessed, for example, a large part of the maintenance risk assessment is, can I actually get at the pieces of equipment that I need to change, that, you know, like motors and things like that that burn out, and, you know, the moving parts that are going to wear that eventually need changing. If you've got, you know, a good design risk assessment in place, then you'll have processes in place for getting at that thing, which allow you to replace things a lot quicker and reduce downtime massively. It's the design risk assessment is, I always try to liken it to an FMEA, because I think those are the design risk assessment and an FMEA are two sides of the same coin, in the same way that PUWER and UKCA are two sides of the same coin. It's just FMEAs are looking at non-dangerous failures and DRAs are looking at dangerous failures. Both going to cost time and money if something goes wrong. So yeah, it's just having the right design risk assessment in place. And as I keep saying, do it at the right time at the beginning. But I know a load of people that treat design risk assessments as a administrative activity, which is to be done at the end as a to get the CE stamp. It's got to be done at the beginning. It's no good trying to muddle your way through during the engineering phase and installation phase.
Do you normally find is once you've worked with these businesses once, that if you're working with them again, they've already kind of implemented what you've asked for in that project?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. It gets a lot easier the more repeat business you get, for sure. And on the top of that as well, it gets cheaper. I mean, you know, I find that at the beginning, especially customers that are trying to get to grips with their responsibilities, they'll ask for the full package, and then, you know, as things go on, they, you know, from a CE perspective, they might start to bring more things in house that they didn't before. Like, you know, we write operation and maintenance manuals for people. So because I started out as a technical author, that was my job, and I actually quite like doing that. So I quite like it when we get those orders, which a lot of people don't understand. But a lot of people end up taking that in house because, you know, I'll write them a maintenance manual, and then they've got a good example. Then they know what sort of content they've got to have it, so that they're fine taking that on, you know, themselves. But and of course, if they're making the same machines over and over again, but just like different changes in the variants, then you know, the previous design risk assessments can be used as an example. So it's just a lot quicker. The assessment process, it gets a lot quicker, and it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. I mean, it's saving time. If they're implementing this straight away every time, it's going to make it a lot easier all the way across, really, from the build stage, and especially getting you in earlier as well. Do you normally find you can do some of these checks before, obviously the machine's gone completely live to a new site? Do you normally go in there as well, or do you normally just see it at the end once it's complete?
We offer a pre-PUWER service, so we've actually got one of those coming up for one of our clients in Ireland. So they have a supplier here in England. So we're going to go in there to PUWER assess the machinery before it's completed, actually. So it's actually not going to have, I found out earlier this week, it's not even going to have any mechanical guards when we go and see it. So it's actually a line, a palletizing line. They've said we just need you to come and give us as much information as you possibly can before we have it in, you know, on the shop floor in Ireland, because once it's on the shop floor in Ireland, it's taking up space, and we need it to start producing immediately. So it's just about getting as much information to them for corrective actions as quickly as possible, so that you know, they can get the line up and running as soon as they possibly can once it's physically on the shop floor of their facility. So yeah, we do a pre-PUWER service and then follow it up once it's installed at the place. And then of course, you know, we offer PUWER phases for larger projects like that, so we can go back and sign stuff off. But we're also quite flexible. You know, if we go there and we find some there's a lot of corrective actions that we can just, if, you know, the client decides that they can do it and then send us pictures to show us that it's been signed off and they want us to sign it off, then we can do that. But there's also as well, there's no obligation for us to sign off any of our PUWER assessments. All they need to do is take our corrective action, do them, and if they're satisfied that they've completed what we've suggested that they needed to do, then that's fine. There's no legal requirement for us to come and sign anything off. But we find that a lot of people just like to have the little sort of comfort feeling of getting us to just come and say, yeah, that's exactly what we needed you to do. So yeah, we do that probably about sort of half the time, really.
Takes the onus off of them as well sometimes, doesn't it? So at least they've had you kind of check it and say, yep, no, we're happy with that. They can pass easily.
Yeah, exactly. As I say, we do that both. We can do that remotely for a lot of stuff, but a lot of people also like you to just come and properly have another look at it as well.
So if there's a manufacturer listening, obviously into the podcast now, is there any advice you can give them on kind of taking their compliance more seriously? Is there anything they should be looking at to improve? Is there anything new coming in place that they should be looking at?
Well, there's the machinery regulation coming in. It's out now. You can start, complying with it now. It's a sort of handover phase at the moment. Sort of the information for CE and UKCA changes quite a lot, but as far as I'm aware, the date for it that it becomes mandatory is still January 2027. So so long as they stick to that, that will be then. So people have got to be ready for the new regulation. Then there's a few new essential health and safety requirements in there, or they changed it now. What does they call it? Essential safety requirements, ESRs now. That's what they call it. So there's a couple of new ones in there for sort of machine learning and cybersecurity as well. So we actually here in Neuguard, we've got to start preparing for that as well, because as I say, so one of the ESRs now for cybersecurity doesn't require you to, but it says you have to have measures in place to ensure that no malicious hacking, there's no sort of malicious hacking from outside into your machine that can sort of override safety functions. So the best way to do that will be like you do with verification and validation of control systems. It's a security assessment. So you'll get an SIL, it's another SIL, but it means security integrity level, not safety integrity level. That's going to be a thing that we want to start offering from January 2027. So here in Neuguard, we're going to this year, part of our training budget, or vast majority of our training budget, is going to be getting us all trained and competent to be able to do cybersecurity assessments for industrial automation control systems. And I'm quite looking forward to that, actually. I think for me, the most enjoyable sort of part of machine safety is functional safety. And I see it as a kind of extension to that. It's very sort of electrical and controlsy. I think I, like you said, are mechanically biased. And so I've had to learn the electrical stuff from the beginning of my career, because you have to do both. And I found that I kind of wish I was more electrically biased, because I find it a lot more interesting. But yeah, so I'm quite excited to learn more about cybersecurity for industrial control systems. So there's that. If you've got any sort of cloud-based control or remote access for your machinery, you're going to have to demonstrate compliance with that essential safety requirements. That's a big one. As I say, the stuff about machine learning, I don't have any. I haven't had any exposure to sort of machine learning machinery yet, or AI machinery yet in industrial control systems. I don't think it's progressed enough yet, maybe to be used in real production environments. We don't have a lot of work in R&D, to be fair. I think that's probably where the majority of that stuff is being used. So at the moment, we don't actually have much to say about AI in machinery safety yet, but it's coming for sure.
Where can people find Neuguard? I know you get a lot of, you've mentioned before, you get a lot of work through word of mouth, but where can they find you? Can you find you online? Obviously, you're on the Hub, you're on LinkedIn. Anywhere else you're online they can find you?
Our website, www.neuguard.co.uk. We have a sort of contact us inquiry form on there that comes straight to our inbox. Just there really, or give us a call. Our phone numbers on the website, LinkedIn pages. Yeah, best place to find us really. And of course, we're advertised on the Manufacturers Hub, so you can find us through there.
Do you normally do any shows? People see you at shows or anything like that? Automation shows?
Done before, but we are going to this year, definitely big into shows. We're going to go to Mac, I think. So I can't remember off the top of my head. I emailed the team 3 that I like the look of. So I think Mac. It's that March.
Is it April? Is it end of April 20? 20-something of April, 22nd, 20,
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah, so we're going to go to that one. Drivers and controls I've never been to before, and I've always liked the sound of, because it's very controlsy. So I think we'll be going to that. There's another one as well, which escapes my memory at the moment.
Smart Manufacturing Week.
Potentially, pretty much everything we're looking at is in the NEC, so local to us. So just think now, now that we have a larger capacity, I think it's time for us to start showing our faces in all the trade shows and stuff, especially as it's so local. There's no excuse for us not to do that. So yeah.
Especially going into, say, the automation shows as well for you, whereas you mainly work on kind of automated machines as well. It's definitely a lot of people you can meet in there that could be potential clients of yours or customers, where you can be going in and doing some of the compliance for their machines.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as I say, most of our work now is in automotive and food and beverage, but I'd love to expand it because I've got experience in packaging myself. One of our guys, he worked for a fabric supplier to the likes of JLR and Tesla. He'd be interested in going to sort of stuff like that, where fabrics are manufactured and things like that. Yeah, we want to branch out into be able to use the risk assessment and compliance stuff in other industries that we're not currently in. So it'd be great if those shows could introduce us to those people.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll see a lot of people there. So yeah, hopefully you can. So is there anything you'd like to add on the podcast?
No, not really. I don't think so. Just thank you for having us on. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Really love what Manufacturers Hub is doing right now, connecting people and stuff like that. And we're definitely going to be using it this year to try and find some new people to sell our services to. So yeah, thank you to the manufacturer.
Thanks, Evan. Thanks for kind of joining us on the podcast. It's great to have you on and listen more about what you're about and compliance and the safety, what you do really for the businesses. So that's the end of my questions. And yeah, so we'll see you next time.
Cheers. Thank you.
If you want more customers, you've got two choices. You either pay for Google Ads or you hope that you're within the top 10 on Google search.
There's over 100,000 manufacturing businesses in the UK, but how do they get found? I had that problem working for an engineering company in Essex with no marketing budget. How could new customers find us?
My name's Kevin and I'm the co-owner of Manufacturers Hub, and we've come up with a solution to get your business found online. Join us today to boost your online presence. Click the sign up link.